So let's see if we can. I hope you can hear me. Hello, Troy. Hi, David. Thank you for tuning in. You're here early. That's awesome. This is the first time I've I think, and I have someone watching me and listening. That's awesome. And thank you again, Troy, for sending me all the books and stuff. That's awesome. And I think this will be okay, perfect. Good, good, good. I think this will be up the alley because there will be a lot of ocean floor to cover today. I think one of the main things will be to redo the ocean depths, and I can recover a little bit, recoup from last week or 2 weeks ago when I did this. I've added a whole bunch of islands up here in the north, and I've also added in I've tweaked added some here, and I fixed these kind of borderline areas. We can kind of include them in the atlas, and I've also added and fixed some down here. Hi Brian, and hi Pete Bog. Awesome. We have a whole bunch of people from the beginning. Wonderful. Thank you for tuning in. Need to cough a little bit. I haven't said anything in a few hours. Yep, that's the thing, Troy. Yep, that's the thing. I can tell you the base I use for this is some of the inspiration and the base are actually uh, two. So I have this map here is was some of the how it works on Earth, so to speak. So I have this was the inspiration, and then I made that into this. And then as a base for this map, I use this that has simplified it. So I made this version as a simplified version to just get the coastlines and the drainage basins and all that kind of thought out, so to speak. And now comes the slightly tedious task of actually correcting or adjusting the current flannies to fit into this, and even more so into making that it fits this. So we have the northern areas here, we have the western bits here, we have this area here, the islands, and this bit here. Then I'm going to see if I can kind of we need to make sure that the current flannies and this one kind of match each other. And it would not be perfect because we can actually go in and change this as needed, so to speak. So we don't need to go overboard in adjusting things. So that will be the kind of the base for the work here. So yes, thank you, Brian, for I'm going to say yeah. Hang on a second. Brian, can you post the link to your Patreon and so where they can find the podcast and listen to the previous episode and stuff? I'm really looking forward to that. Tomorrow it's going to be a Fate game. We're going to go Fate in space. So we're going to have a lot of fun. That will be my 4th time in forever that I play Fate, and we had a lot of fun when we started this a couple of months ago, the first session. Okay, so let's dig in. I've added the continental shelf here, and I've also taken into account the legend here. So I'm using these colors, but I'm going to see if we can need to adjust some of it. But so I'm basically now working in the 300 to 600 feet. So not the very coastal waters, but the ones that are a little bit deeper. So those are the oh, hi Jason. Yep. Awesome. Thank you, David. So it is working and fixing the ocean depths and some of the getting the coastlines fixed. There's a couple of islands and stuff we need to tweak down there, but I'm going to go over the main areas. I've tweaked the main areas and got this far, so I think I've actually done most of this. This is the area. I'm not sure I want a deep hole, but maybe we can have a deep hole there. We'll see. We have this area here that we have the that mystical landscape there. The I forgot what it's called now. Hang on a second. I need to open up the so I can have a full version of the map so I remember all the names of places here. That is the pinnacles of Azur Alk. So that will be an area that we need to give some shallow lands here too. So I need to kind of put that in there. We should probably skip that bit and keep them as is. That's probably I can put them I can probably change that afterwards and fill it in. So let's see here. No, we should probably keep it as a mysterious area with a little bit of deeper around it, so to speak. Then we have this area around here. So let me, that's the wrong, I need to first check that I have the coastlines already. Yep. And now when we look at the thing, these are layers with the mask. So by disable the mask, I can actually go in and turn them on and off. And they're all layered inside a folder or grouped together, and the group has a layer mask. That's one of the smart features in Photoshop. You can actually have each layer can have a mask, and then the whole group can have a mask. Oh yeah, yeah. The dragon turtle might need some deep water. Dark bit, the end of the. Oh, you mean to the west, David? Yep. That is simply I expanded the area a little bit here, so I could get these islands that were cut off, so I can actually do the western area of them as well. So we'll see what me filling in that part. I'm not sure about that yet. Yeah, now I've expanded the map in every direction. Except north, actually. I don't. Oh, yeah, I expanded it north too a bit. So that is the area. Yeah, we have some dragon turtles, but dragon turtles don't need more than. This is like 600 feet deep, or something like that. So they don't need more, but we should definitely have some depths out here. Should be some really deep waters, and there are some deep waters here and there. And now this looks monolithic. I'm going to touch up the fringes a bit here too. So this is not the finished version, so I'm going to just make sure I'm using the right colors here. So that is good. Now I can actually go in and make the islands here a little bit. I can actually go in here and add even shallower waters among the islands themselves here. Is that the only dragon turtle? I hope there was some more dragon turtles, but I'm not sure. I haven't studied exactly where the dragon turtles hang out, but I think the Dramid Ocean will be a good place. No, these islands are actually sticking up. Those are the Atafads, I think they're called. Hang on a second. So we have to, yep, it's the Atafad. So we have here, these are the Atafad Islands. So if we zoom in, we're here. So we have Ekbir and we have the Atafad Islands. The thing is that I'm actually equalizing the colors because the colors were not consistent across the map. So the colors differed a little bit from one end of the map to the other because they were done in different years. So now I'm going to standardize the colors so the colors will be the same all over the map, or roughly the same. There are probably a little bit of places here and there that might not have been given the proper treatment. There we go. So this is kind of an under mountain, a mountain range that continues under the water here, and you can see the peaks, but it's kind of a tongue of land sticking out that has been submerged, most of it. And then we have some of the land here. Let's go in and add. This is something I need to do for basically all the coastlines. I need to add the most shallow water in here. But that was merely a test. I need to kind of calm down here for a second and get into it. I've been out hiking for a couple hours before I did this, so I need to come down back to this. I worked for some hours in the morning, and then I was out doing other things during the day. So now it's time to come back to earth, so to speak, and back into mapping mode. So we have these areas here. They look fairly intact. It's this area here that I need to tweak a little bit more here. Add a little bigger brush. There we go. Something like this. And I should add a little bit here too. Then we can add a little bit of the other colors. So these are areas in a warm climate, when in a cold climate, when the oceans will fall, these areas here will be flooded. So these will be islands and that area. Now I need to take a little bit of a peek here. There we go. Then I can add in some little bit of a brighter. I should probably have a little bit harder brush. Something like that is probably better. Slightly smaller. Yeah, that might work. And check the scattering works. Okay. And then I'll add a little bit down here. The good thing is, since I have the mask for the whole group here, that means that I can paint around islands and I will not paint over any of the existing land mask because I already masked it off. So I think that is roughly it. I know that's something I should do here on some of the new lands. I have the these islands here need some beaches. So let's see if we can go in and fix that. I should make a duplicate of that layer. And then see, did I make a beach brush? No. But I have a tiny little brush. That one would probably work. Remove the texture. Make it much smaller. 12 pixels, that might work. And then give it a beach color. Like sand. Like that. And it's 30%, 50. That might work. And we can go in here and yeah, that works. Paint in a little bit of beach here. And yeah, like I said, every time this is tedious work to get it right, but it's kind of a placeholder map, so thank you, Troy. Yep. this is the it's details like this that because the the coastline looked too artificial and kind of stiff and didn't look that good before, so this kind of makes them happy. And now I zoomed into 147%, so it should, if I zoom out to 100%, it kind of looks good. But I usually want to work at a bit higher than 100%, because if it looks good here, it will look superb once you zoomed out a bit. So hi Patrick, welcome. And I don't think I should not be beach everywhere, so hang on a second. I don't want a beach on that thing that juts out, because if there's anything that should be, well, okay, hang on a second, we need to tweak that. So I'll do this and take some and then paint that in, and then we go back to beaches here, go like that, save a little bit of greenery or cliffs or something on these things that stick out there, because they might be kind of cliffs. Then we put beaches in here, we put some beaches in here, and we put them in here. So, and these should be temperate, kind of almost temperate rainforest, so we should probably tweak the colors a bit. So let's do that. Let's make a copy just of this area here, copy and paste, and then I just select that area and go into filter and camera raw filter, and then we tweak them a bit. I want them to look a bit more like Ireland. They need to have a little bit more, we have saturation, so the green should be a bit more saturated here. And then we have hues, so the yellows go a bit more towards green, and greens go a little bit warmer. Darken that a bit, and now we can, then we should go into the basics here and just boost the saturation just a little bit. And then we go in here. Yep, that looks better. But now we might need to tweak the beaches a little bit again. So I'm going to merge that down. Okay, now we can go in here and see if we need to tweak the beaches a little bit here and there. Add. It's a tedious tweaking a bit, but might need to. I need to tweak it just here and there a bit. Just a quick dirty little beach job here. Hi, Sorrow's Tail. Welcome. Yep, this is tedious map tweaking. So we're out in for every bit here. So now we have some ocean to take care of here too. So now I need to go in here and that is a bit too much. Let's see here. Go down 3940. There we go. So now I need to paint over the ugly bits here. So, and that was to be a bit deeper than that, I think. Yeah, let's go in here and hang on a second. I need to look at the depth here. Is that the that's the no, need to undo the paint here. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Do it like this. There we go. There we go. Now I need to replace the darkened blue with the correct blue. So let's go in here and start with this one. Paint over the ugly bits. There we go. Paint over this bit here. There we go. Okay, now we can start building on it here. Add some the thing is, when you do this, you don't need to be precise. You should just doodle all over the place a bit. There we go. We add the next depth color here. So we're building an underwater mountain, the whole range up here. And then we have that one. Yeah, that works. Okay, so here we have the east coast here a bit. So okay, so I need to add a layer. Hang on a second. That is, yeah, so we need to add one that is the darkest color at the bottom. So let's do that. I go to that one, and now I go here, and we need to copy that color. There we go. And then I go in here and I fill it with that darkest color. This is Photoshop. So this is the latest version of Photoshop. So I'm just touching up the current Flanese terrain to 20 for the 2021 version of the map. So this is the, and now we need to go in here and, oh, that was, should have an alt instead of, there we go. So we can just, I can just call it, that doesn't matter what the name is right now. So we go in and do that, and all of these should be set to not, they should be locked in place. That's important, so you don't accidentally move them around. Okay, so now we can actually go in and add waters of any depth. So now it's just starting to, we need to tweak all the surrounding waters. We have a bunch of islands down here, so let's see if we can get the, I need to add these islands into the coastland, the coastlines here too. So yep, it is Photoshop. This is Photoshop. This is Photoshop 2021, so it's the latest version of Photoshop. So now I just need to fix the, there we go. I just need to add these to the coastlines here. Just paint that in. There we go. Let's add these because I want them to be masked away from the surrounding water, so we can paint in the island texture. And I'm going to do the same thing with, hang on a second here. I'm going to take a look at I'm going to skip them for a second here, and I'm going to paint in these here, and I'm going to paint in Hipmona land as well, so we have that ready. There we can go in, and I don't have scattering, good. I'm going to make a bigger brush and just add, and the reason I do this is because I want to update the coastline mask to actually be everything that I'm going to have as coastlines, because then I can just copy the mask. Now I'm going to deselect here briefly and paint over the ugly bits here. There we go, and reselect, and then go in here. And masking is a good tool if you want to work fast. You can just mask things. And I'm not using the brush, I'm using the pencil because I want to make sure that there are no little holes and stuff. The pencil has more kind of fuzzy edges and stuff. This one is all or nothing. So the pencil is for if you want to have very strict on or off, so to speak. Then you can use it. I don't want to fill this. I could just use a fill tool, but the problem is that then it fills everything within the mask, and I'm not 100% sure that I want to add everything that is within the mask. So that's why I'm doing this manually, even if it takes like 4 or 5 minutes. Because I don't want to accidentally create some coastline mask where I don't want it. I want to make sure that everything I do is actually what I intend to do, so to speak. And then we can fill in these little islands here, and this is one of these triangular, very earthly islands. We have that one there too, and then we have these little specks of islands here. Okay, now what we can do is that we can deselect these, and then I can add the same thing. Hang on a second, what I should do here. We should go in and see, did I add the, yep, now we can just deselect and I'd use the, come on here, there we have the coastlines. Now I can delete that layer mask and then create it again, and oops, it's the other way around. We should go into invert, there we go. So now we get holes where we have these islands, but it's okay because we're going to add new little things here. So now we need to study, should we add these islands or not? That was one of the things that we should probably go in and see if I can find that map from, hang on a second here. That was from Mike Bridges had on his blog. So let me just find it. Dread. Dread. Okay, so here we have it. So this is his map that he did, and we have a bunch of islands there. Yeah, we should add those 3, I think. So let's take that as a project and add them before we move on, so I can start doing so we can get finished with these islands. So now we have them, because are they added on coastlines? No, they're not. So let's paint them over in coastlines. There we go. So yeah, Isle of Dread is the one down here. So yep, that is Isle of Dread. And let me zoom out a bit so we can see here what we, yep, there is Isle of Dread. And now it's all due to my masking, the Isle of Dread is just transparent at the moment, so I'm going to get to it. So but first we need to get into these 3, and we should probably have these 4 islands. Let's see if we should get to them. So I'm going to, there we have coastlines. So now it's time to select them again, inverse the selection, and do the same thing, and delete that again and go back. There we go. So now I have them selected here. So now we can go in here and see what we can do. I think we should go with the general theme of jungle and hills again. So let's go in here and first do the settings here. We should make that one a little bit bigger. Something like that. And we have 180. That probably works to begin with. And just get some jungle base here. I'm just painting the jungle base like this. Just paint in. And now we need to start looking at the can deselect and we can look at the hills and stuff, because we should probably have a little bit of hills. So let's see here. We have that one there should have some hills. Let's go a little bit further away and find some hills. Those hills looks good. Let's go there and do a line there and paint in those hills here. There we go. There we have some hills. And that one, do we have some banana shaped hills here? Something that might work. I'm going to try with that one. I'm going to try those and see if they work. Yep. Now I'm going to remove a line here so we can add a little bit of hills here. There we go. Some peaks, and then we have that one. There are some hills on that one, but that one might need a little bit of knobs here, and there we go. So we get a little bit of, because most hills tend to, Joe. Yes, exactly. Most islands have some sort of highland, some sort of base substance. Otherwise, they will be washed away long time ago. There's some exceptions like atolls and things that are, but those are islands that are almost vanished, so to speak. They are flat. Most of the, so this one here might be the first one to disappear. But most islands, they have like a core of hills or some reason for them, because they're like the top of a mountain sticking up. But some of these are like built on some flat, almost continental, so to speak. It's like a submerged continent bit. So we can, yeah, I'm fairly happy with them. So let's go in here and do the, see if we can get the brush, the little, I used a swamp. I should actually make a beach brush. It's probably a good idea. So let's go in here and do this, and it's 3052, and make it a little bit smaller like that. And then I go in and pick the color. We pick the color here like that, a little bit brighter, something like that. And then we first we test it and see that it actually works. We got some riverbed there. We need to fix that again. So yeah, watercolors are tricky, and I'm on my third set here, so to speak. I used to use way too screaming blue, and then I subdued it, made it darker, and this is the second version. On my Midgard maps and future Greyhawk maps, I will probably go trying to be a little bit more natural than this, but it's tricky to find blue colors that are kind of that work, so to speak. It's really tricky, and they should vary from tropical waters to cold waters and stuff, so it should be a little bit different depending on what the part of the world it is. So it's probably a little bit too big. I'm going to 10. There we go. There we go. So now we can make it a beach. Let me call it beach. So now we have it, so we can quickly pick it up when we need to. So now I'm going to paint in some beach here. I'm going to save these that are a little bit hilly going out there, and then I'm going to just make it here, save a little bit there, and then go in here, save a little bit there, and then create beach here. And have a wider beach. Yeah, watercolors are science, and it's kind of really tricky. But at this scale, it's more symbolic than real. It's when you have real close-ups. So when I've done my close-up maps of various areas like the southern shieldlands and stuff, that's when you really want to see the depth. This is more symbolic of the depth. That's when watercolors are really important. So there we go. And then I paint in some beaches here too. This one. There we go. Then we can have some waterlogged there. Here we go. And this one. Yeah, it's Photoshop takes some time, especially when you do fiddly little work like this. That's kind of takes a while. Some things you can do in large areas in one go and it looks good, but some of this, there is hardly no substitute. You just have to, if you get a real good result, you have to start doing it by hand in every little area. Okay, now we need to do the shallow ocean. Hang on a second here. That's the shallow ocean. And I would like to put that in here. Yep, that's where I want it. Yep. So now we need to add some of that shallow ocean around here. And brush settings. So do we have some texture? Oh, I'm going to try that and then make it slightly bigger and just see if it works. Yeah, not too bad. That works. Yep. Then add stuff around here. I'm going to reduce the hardness to, that's better, like this. And we can even add the some reefs and stuff, and then we need to tweak that because that doesn't look good, that. Well, slave trade can be, look at the real world, meaning they took people from Africa, kidnapped them and put them in ships and shipped them around to the other end of the world. So by today's standard, the standard back then, South America and the Americas were the other end of the world. So apparently it was a very horribly lucrative trade back then. So you have real world example that back in the pre-industrial age, human labor was very highly valued. So or valuable. No, it wasn't valued, but it was valuable. So it's kind of, it could make sense in a fantasy world that slavers actually went far and wide to find labor. So and to kidnap people and commit all these horrible crimes. So it's kind of, so that could make sense. That could actually make sense. So that bit I'm not completely surprised that they put that in. But the but going to near div seems to go across the problem, because then you have the problem of shipping them across land. I would go raid other coastal areas, like you should raid around the Relmore Bay and stuff like that, and that seems to be where you would like to go, so to speak. And also I think they would probably raid poor areas that have fewer defenses, not rich, well civilized and organized countries. simply because they have better defenses. It will be much harder to get to people that are organized and armed than poor people who are not well organized will be to. So yeah, they will probably steal first and foremost from other parts of the wild coast, or they will go down south and import the poor hapless souls somewhere else. But yeah, or it will be like in, if it were like anything like the real, it will be the Greyhawkians and others who would go to Pomarsh and stuff and get the slaves from other parts of the world. So it's kind of tricky. So I think it's exactly, yeah, Medio Jungle is one of these areas, but generally I think it will be rich and organized people that would go and grab poor people, unorganized poor people who can't defend themselves, to go and work in their colonies and stuff. That will be the most logical. But fantasy worlds don't always have to be more logical. They should have interesting stories and stuff, but they should have some consistency. Now we have there's some anomaly there, so I need to tweak and see here. So we need to go in here and see if we can tweak the. I'm going to use the pencil tool here just to get rid of it. There we go. Get rid of that little hole there, and then there we go. No, not everything should need to be logical, but I think that most things should be logical on its own premises, meaning it doesn't need to be like in the real world, but it should follow its own rules, meaning if physics and magic and stuff works a certain way in your campaign, then the story and stuff should follow those, how that works, so to speak. If magic is very prevalent and powerful and easy to get to, it should control a lot of things. And it should replace technology. And if it's not, then it should be rare and so on and so forth, and it should not control. So try and figure out how you want the world to work, and then simply have the physics and the magic system that supports the stories you want to tell. I think that's my advice. Yep, exactly. And then you should have, because there are crazy people or crazy monsters or whatever that are not following the rules simply because they have interests that go contradicts the rules. But they should also struggle long term, because if you follow the physics and if you use magic and stuff as written, or as it functions, then you would probably be more successful the long term, so to speak. If you, it's like the real world. If you understand physics and stuff, you can build better weapons, and you can harness resources much better if you understand the world and you work with it rather than working against it. And I think that should go in the fantasy world too. If you know how the fantasy world works and you can work with its physics and with its magic and stuff, that means that you could be more easily be more successful long term. There we go. So I'm just gonna add some stuff here, and now I'm going to remove the texture. There we go. Fill in some of the bits here. There's a lot more to do there. Okay, now we have gotten some of these islands. Now I think it's time to save again. There we go. Okay, yep. Yeah, there will be probably about 200 hours of work on the Photoshop upgrade, since the update, the terrain update will probably, I've probably done about 25 hours of it now, so it's probably another 75 hours or something like that. A couple of more weeks of work on it. Yep, so a couple of more weeks. So by November, the terrain should be done with. Should be ready. We'll see. Okay, then we have saved it. Now we can get back to work again. So we have, let's see here. Yeah, we have a whole bunch of new ones here. So they are there. So let's do these just while we're at it down here. I can just add some stuff here. Then go back down here and get the clone tool again. And let's see here. I'm going to take from that one. Just go in here and just paint over here so we get some hills. Now, I don't want to steal the hills whole hog, so I'm going to paint over some bits and combine some different parts here. So there we go. I think that can work. Yep, now we created some unique terrain there again. My voice is terrible today. I'm sorry. Sorry about this. Okay, so we have a couple of more islands here. And I'm going to look further in for, I'm going to steal some of this terrain here instead. We'll steal from it there. Like that. And now I can remove that align, take some of the low-lying areas there and just paint over some of these bits there. There we go. I'm going to take the line back and then go in here and now originally this terrain is created using Bryce 3D, an old tool from the 1990s. That is actually a 3D terrain tool, and you can do some primitive object and stuff. But it's by today's standard, it's a very primitive tool. But it's still, you can still get it, I think. Now it's probably up to version 7 or 8. Hang on a second, let me see if you can actually get it. Price 3D. Yep, you can, they're still selling it. It's version 7. It's very primitive by today's standards, but you can, it's only 20 bucks, so it's not that expensive, but it's a very tricky tool. I can't recommend it really for this type of work. Back then it was the only thing that was around, and it took a long time to tweak it and get it to work. But you can do a few cool things with it, but there are way better tools now for the job. So but that's what I used, and heavy photoshopped it afterwards too. But yeah, thank you. It's kind of, yeah, it's kind of cool for being 20 years old. It's kind of cool. So it's still, and I tweak the colors and stuff in twice, so to speak. So the original didn't look this good. So I've edited and tweaked it and stuff over the time, and it's okay. I would say it's not great, but it's okay. It does the job of conveying it. So I'm going to, now I have way higher standards for what I want to do, but it's not bad. It's not bad. Yeah. Yep, yeah, hiking is awesome. We should hike often. Yep. Let's see here. Now we have the, yeah, I just keep adding here, but I'm going to steal some from up here, I think. I'm going to steal from up there next time. And go in here and just then zoom in a bit here. Then just do this and make it smaller, and then just go in and add little bits here, and oh, I'll remove the align there, so, and then go in here and just take a few little bits there. Okay, there we go. Now we have these islands, and then see what we can do with the I'll see if I can tackle Hepmona and something, but that will be a project in itself, because I need to study, I need to read the Scarlet Brotherhood once again when they have the detailed information about Hepmona Land. So I'm going to spend a few hours and read that and see what I can do with that bit. Okay, yeah, we can see the terrain around Homelet, so I'm going to click there, and we're going to look at the terrain around Homelet, and Homelet is here. So if we look at the, we can look at the map, bring in the map here. So I'm going to zoom in, and we're going to look at the map here. So we have Homelet there. There is Homelet, and now I'm going to go here and look. So Homelet is actually going to move. So Homelet is here along this river here. That's the river that flows through Homelet. So Homelet is around here somewhere. So Homelet is in here. So there's a few hills here, and so that's where Homelet is. And then you have Förbobonk up here, and then the road south to Celine goes here, and then you have the high road and the low road. So the Nolb is here, and Temple of Elemental Evil is around here. So if we go back here on the map here, so you can see that this whole thing, Homelet here, the Moat House, Nolb, and Temple of Elemental Evil is all in that little area here. So that's so compare that bit to we can zoom out and we see the whole big world, so to speak. So it's kind of, yeah. Yeah, I try to map as much as possible. So yep, it will be so much fun to go in and do the detailed area maps of that part, to do it the way I did it for this little bit here. So I've taken this bit here, I've actually created a detailed map of that. So hang on a second here, I can go in and find that map. Hang on a second here. I can find that map. So that little area here that goes from here to here to here, so to speak. So let me zoom in to that area here. So roughly this area here on the map is this area. So here we can zoom in. This is the next standard of mapping. So here you have from that other area who was 25 pixels, the same area in 16,000 pixels. So this is 5 feet per pixel. So here we can go into that river mouth that was just a blue pixel, and we can actually see individual houses here. in a town that I call Delard. So here you can zoom into about this level here. So this is the next level of Greyhawk mapping. So this is what I want to do for yeah, all of the planet basically eventually, but that will take a long time with today's technology. But with a little bit better software and better hardware, I can at least do it much faster. So this is the what's possible with today's technology to do maps that are this detailed, that you can see in the yeah, I use, yep, in my campaign I use is active in this area, definitely. Okay, so let's go back down to the islands down here again, see what we can tweak a few of them here so we can kind of add in. We have a couple of more islands here, see what we can do. Yeah, Patrick, that's the next version, so to speak. So, yep. Oh, you're welcome. Okay, so let's start with this one fairly flat and then work in some hills afterwards. Just gonna paint in some bits here while we're at it. We can just do the same thing for these. Okay, now we need to see what we can do for highlands and stuff in here. So we need to have a little bit more. I need something that goes northeast to southwest. I think I have something here. Oh, maybe that one. I'm going to make it slightly bigger here and put in aligned. Hi, Brian. Google Earth, yes. This is what I'm trying to aspire to make it Google Earth. Now we're going to see what we can make put an island range there. So there we go. You can put that in. This little spine of hills in the middle. Now we need something that goes northwest to southeast. That shouldn't be too difficult. I think I've seen lots of it. We have one here. Let's go do that one. Just add that in. So there we go. And then we need something bigger, but we need more stuff going northwest to southeast. I need to look here where we have something that I'm getting curious. This is a test, see if we can use that. Yeah. Now I just need to tweak it a little bit here. Go in. There we go. Oops, that didn't work. I need to do this and turn that off. And there's something with the mask there. Yep, and something with that mask, so I need to tweak that mask. There we go. Okay. Now I need to tweak that that was the wrong tool. It's not the pencil tool, that's the worst tool for the job. I need the clone tool, that's the tool for this. I'm going to go in here and create some, get a little bit of hills, and then simply put that in there. There we go. Okay, now it's time for the beach tool again. The brush tool and go down and find the beach tool. There we go. Now we can probably just go in here and start painting beaches. There we go. Just keep adding little beaches here. Take away that super rough edge of the islands. I might go in and do a final tweak afterwards when I'm done with all the waters and stuff, because then I will take all these layers and merge them with the terrain and then do a final go over some of the bits that are a little bit ugly here and there, and kind of tweak them in the last bit, so to speak, to make a final. There are always a little bits here and there that I will just go over and see there are some ugly bits that I want to kind of remove at the end. The good thing with terrain like this is that you should never be too precise. You should just doodle and keep doodling, so to speak, and have brushes with a lot of kind of chaos built in, so to speak. That kind of works, and then do a bit of nagging at the edge here. Okay. Then we move over to these little tiny ones here. Yeah, this is just tedious Photoshop work. But it's the quick and dirty way of doing this. Just go in and tweak it a little bit like that, and then this island. And it's okay to doodle a bit all over the place. There we go. And now it is time to add the water depth and that shallow water around, so make the scale on this map is 1 pixel is roughly a mile, I think, or a little bit. No, it's 4 pixels per mile roughly. But we can go in here and use this map, and if we go here and go out here, you have a scale here. So that's 50 and 100 miles, so you take that. So it's roughly 2, maybe about 3 pixels per mile or maybe I forgot exactly per pixel, but it's there you have it. So on this one, so it's almost 100 miles from that island to here is about 100 miles. So that's and often we can use, hang on a second, I have this scale bit in here. I have here I have 12-mile hexes. We can actually add 12-mile hexes here. We don't have them over the new area, but the current area. So here you have, these are 12-mile hexes for scale. So it's not particularly detailed, so to speak. So that will take a whole day for a character to check that out. So that one, it's one day of exploration per hex, roughly. If it's like flat terrain, easy to walk around, then it takes a day. If it's hilly and difficult terrain, it might take 2 and even 3 days to explore one of these hexes. So, okay, so we have we go, and so I put in shallow ocean here. We should actually put this in here, but then need to, I'll skip that. I do the, since I have the right brush, I do this bit first here. There we go. And then we have some masking issues there, so let's go back in and paint in some more beach there. There we go. Then we go in here. Yep, that's the way to do it. There's some new bug in Photoshop, and it's probably to do with the new NVIDIA drivers, is that the UI kind of occasionally it disappears for a few seconds and then it comes back again. It's one of the and I didn't see it before, but since I got my 3080 Ti NVIDIA 3080 Ti graphics card and the new drivers, this happens occasionally. It doesn't cause anything else, that the parts of the UI in Photoshop disappears for like a second or two and comes back again. It's kind of weird, but it's one of these weird bugs that there we have an issue there. Go back again. Yes, yeah, peat bog it is, but you have to see them symbolically a bit, so to speak. When I go in and do them more detailed, they will be some of it be marshland, some of it be grassland, some of it be beaches, and some of it be forests and stuff like that. So it's more like you have a planar coastal area, so to speak. That's probably what it symbolizes. So it's, you have to, at this scale, this graphics is only partial photoreal and partial symbolic landscape, so to speak. I just used Bryce Vanilla. I used Bryce 5.5 because I needed to be consistent, so I used the old version. I started with version 2, I think was the first one that came out to PC. Version 1 was only for Macintosh. When I started, it was like version 2 or version 2.2, and I learned on it. And then 3 and 4 came, and then when 5th version came out, I stuck with 5.5, and then version 6 and 7 were so different that what came out of it was not backwards compatible. So I just kept using 5.5 all the way up until like 10 years ago when I did the last bits. Yeah, interpretive, Pete Bog. Yes, that's what we can say. This is kind of interpretive rather than photoreal, so to speak. And so it's partially image real and partially an interpretation and simplification of it. So because some of the mountains and stuff are not to scale actually really either. They were cool looking and they were created in Bryce, and Bryce didn't have the really cool features of adding. You couldn't do everything, and it doesn't work with scale or anything, so it's very primitive to start with. And now I have to live with it until I start doing a whole new set of maps. That's why I want to do new set of maps done in World Machine, because that way I can be way more exact and correct. There we go. So it's a constant kind of tweaking it, making it slightly better, and constant trying to keep consistency and then make better maps continuously. That's how you create a good map. It's a continuous, persistent, stubborn work, so to speak. That's how you create it. It's not one pretty picture. It's more of a long-term goal. There's a little bit of tweaking here and there. There's some dark bits there. There we go. Okay. Go in and keep adding bits here. So this, when you do stuff like this, you can listen to a lot of podcasts and audiobooks, and occasionally watch some documentaries and stuff like that too. Yeah, it's a persistent goal, so to speak. To I love to do stuff like this, and it's an interesting technical challenge to keep doing it better and better and different version of it. So yeah, so it's the cartographers, meaning it's like making maps of the real world. You're never done. You can always do a different version, better accuracy, new symbols for a different purpose, and so on and so forth. So yeah, so it is it's an ongoing thing, definitely. And a lot of people now like what I do, so and I like doing it, so I keep, especially since I get paid a little bit of money to keep doing this, so thanks to getting all the support, I keep doing it. And it's fun, and I want to have more accurate maps, more useful maps, and just create maps that are as useful as possible for dungeon masters and people who want to game in Greyhawk, so to speak. That's the idea. And there should be a little bit of beaches on some of those islands too. So I'm going to keep adding a little bit of, just a tad here. Not much, just nag them like this. Just add a little bit here. There we go. And just a little bit here. Brighten it up in a few places here. There we go. Varied coastlines like that. Yep. There we go. Yep, I think it's time to save again before we figure out what next to do here. So yep. Okay. Now I see some glaring things here that we need to. There's a lot of water depth here and it needs to be tweaked, but I can kind of do some of the worst ones here just to fix it. And then I guess we need to look at the Isle of Dread maybe and see what we can. We have that island and this. I wasn't really ready to tweak Isle of Dread or do that tonight because I need to look and study the Isle of Dread maps. But we'll see here. We can maybe do it first and I'll tweak it afterwards just to see. Okay, here we go. Let's fix that. There's a couple of holes there that I can see that are. I'm just gonna go in and tweak them here. So there we go. That was the. Just go in here and add a little bit of coastline around. I'll probably add a brush. No, hang on a second. That's 30%. We know we should do this and that way. And no texture. There we go. We can kind of add that too, and there we go. Add a little bit of and the same thing here. This can seem very tedious in the moment, so to speak, but you get progress and things can look like, oh, I will never get it done, but just plan and work over days and a lot of work can be done, so to speak. I started to realize at this speed I could probably do Hipmona Land in a couple of weeks. It's more like sit down and do the research and sketch it out and then go in and work at it. It depends on how much new terrain types that I need to create. But I'm starting to get fairly skilled at Photoshop, so I'm starting to be able to do a lot of this straight out of Photoshop. So that means that I can fairly quickly do a lot of this work. I don't need to go in and use. I was thinking going back into Bryce, but I'm not so sure that it will take longer. I think I can actually do it faster in Photoshop and as precise. There we go. And add some more here. These are shallow waters full of reefs and similar features, probably full of fish and of all sorts. There we go. Okay. Tweak, there's a little bit to fill in here. Can fill in some of these bits here. There we go. So okay, let's see what we should do next. Oh, I can show you guys a little bit what I did here with the rivers that I worked on a couple of weeks ago. Now I tweaked it and put in some sandy colors and stuff like that, so it's kind of almost done. There will be one final tweak where I look into it, but it's kind of, it looks almost done, so to speak. So it's kind of, it's not perfect, but it will be good enough for this, because I need the mountains here need to be, they are not the drainage basins. There are too many hidden away valleys with no outlets, so to speak. That needs to be fixed, so to speak. So the mountains, they kind of look cool rather than actually work as mountains. So this is just basic, Bryce's basic fractals. It doesn't have any drainage, no proper erosion or anything like that. So when that's something I really want to fix in a new version, so to speak. It should have mountains and mountain ranges and stuff that actually makes sense, because these are more symbolic and cool. They are symbolic and cool looking rather than accurate. But it's much better than nothing. So it's okay. So now we have these things. So in a way we could test and see. I probably need to, well, we have some of this, but I should research that piece of coastline, and so we can make the Gulf of Gaillard, the coast will go somewhere around that way down. So that's something to look into and tweak. So we have, I guess we can kind of do the actual, hang on a second here, is the now I'm curious. It's probably further away than that, because I have my Estolt Islands that are out there. Well, we'll see if we'll ever go that far. Let's tweak this bit here too and see what we need to do here. Now I need to make this one way bigger. And that's the color there. So we can have a little bit, and then we have okay, that's the, it's done using a few different colors. We can kind of, okay, here we go. We can add, now I need to remove some of that. There we go. I need to remove some of that and then do the same thing here. Just gonna take a peek here and see. Yeah, that's actually deep water out there. So we need to, in a way, I think I should probably go in here and remove some of this too, so we can kind of okay, we have that, and then have this. There we go. Okay. So let's go and paint this in here. There we go. Paint in the, oops, we need to remove scattering. There we go. Okay, now I need to figure out which one. It's that one. Okay. Go in here and remove that one. And then we go and add that one. There we go. Now we can have a deep, deep pool of cold water. We're going to see if we can add some. I'm going to start painting over some of the bits further south here too. Like that much, I think. Something like that. There we go. And we'll see. There we go. This is a bit tricky because I have these colors that I paint over the existing image that already have the ocean depth on it, so it's a little bit complicated at times here. I need to see which. There's a little blue dot there. That's the one. I'm going to remove that one. Okay, so now we have, then I'm going to remove this much and say that then paint in the ugly bits here. Okay, now we have something to work with here, and then I'll take these bits here and I probably want to paint over the, so we do like this, and then add a little bit. Oh, we should, that should be deep all the way over here, so let's do like that. Then we paint in the deep water here like that. That's also one of the things to start figuring out if how deep water really works in, and how the ocean like tectonics and stuff, how that actually works in a fantasy world. That's kind of, that will be an interesting thing to, I want to have some sort of fantasy tectonics that kind of be inspired by the real thing, and then add some other features, and meaning have a tectonics and stuff that is more based in elemental and other things that are more fantasy-esque. probably going to keep those as it is. Hi, Loriano, welcome. Let's see, we can zoom in here a bit. We can, hang on a second, let's go down to the terrain here and let's zoom in. So we have 100% is, this is 50%, and here we can, that's 100%. So this, oh, Uruguay, welcome, that's awesome. So here is the as far we can go without losing details. So if we zoom in more than here, it's starting to get blurry and you're starting to see the individual pixels. So if you take this island here, for instance, I can zoom in and now you start seeing the individual pixels here when you go higher than 100%. So this is as close we can get with, and this is maximum detail at 100%, and then we can zoom out like this. So this is probably about 30, let's see how many pixels. This one is 28,000 by 36,000 pixels. That's how big the image is in total, all of it. The motive, this is the map that is for a campaign setting for Dungeons and Dragons. So it's a fantasy world that I'm working on. It's called Greyhawk, and it's the Greyhawk campaign for Dungeons and Dragons, the oldest campaign setting for any fantasy role-playing game, or at least as old as some of the other ones. We have Blackmore and a couple of others that are maybe as old, but it's the oldest setting in publication for Dungeons and Dragons, and probably for almost every other role-playing game as well. So it's a fantasy world that is intended to be, it's full of dragons, elves, humans, orcs, and stuff like that. Mid-Solnar Rift, yep, yep, there are some rift tectonics and stuff. That's beyond the scope for this update, but I'm going to talk to yeah, we have a couple of experts in this. So we have Troy and Dennis, Maldin and Cannibal. Yeah, Troy and Dennis Tetro. They are kind of my two experts when it comes to geology and ocean floor and stuff. So I'm going to, we have to put our brains together and then work even harder on the ocean depths and stuff. So right now, this update will concentrate mainly on the ocean, the continental shelf and its surroundings. The rest will be probably need at least one or more touch-ups or tweaks before it's kind of done. So it's so that is going to so I'm going to leave some of it there, and I also don't want to screw up everything in one update, so to speak. It needs to be tweaked gradually. It's like an elephant. You need to eat it one piece at a time. Oh, cool, Gord. That's awesome. Yep. Let's see here. So now we have, I'm going to see, we need to tweak. We have a monolithic area here that we need to tweak with some more details. So let's do a little bit more detail here. So we have, so I'm going to add in some coast, and we need to put some scattering and some stuff, and a little, well, hardness might be, yeah, that might work. So we go and yeah, that might, yeah. Go to and then tweak it away here. There we go. Tweak some of it away and add. So I'm going to add to the immediate coastline here and say that it's, and then there are some fjordy areas here where There we go. Maybe it's a bit too hard. I'm going to change the hardness just a little bit here. I think that's better. Yep, that is better. Then we can work away, and then we can kind of remove some of it there. Then keep adding more in here. Then add significant portion around here. And now I have a doggy that needs to be rescued from under my desk again. There we go. Have to give Minnie a treat again. So okay, now it's time to, I'm not super happy with the brush. I want some, maybe a little bit more scattering or detail or something. Let's see here. Well, let's do this just to add, that adds a little bit of more detail. Oh, that is so cool to take another planet map like Venus or something. That is super cool. Yeah, now I think I have the brush that I want much more. Yeah, now I can. You're welcome. Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, inspire. That's a big part of my job, is to try to inspire others to start thinking about fantasy cartography and fantasy settings and stuff from a geographical perspective, so to speak. So that is big part of my job, is to try and do that. So this is good. Yeah. And I'm going to add some of it there, and then keep, then add some banks and stuff here, and then have some, there we go. Yeah, I try to. These maps will probably, hopefully, they will outlive me in the future, and people will work on even better maps, and I'm not done yet. So it's part of the thing is that others, and also the source files are available, so others can pick up where I left off and make their own versions and tweak and make better maps and use it to other. Yep. That's part of the. Oh, it's so cool that you watch Jay at Lord Gusumba channel. That's awesome. I hope you get a chance to play some cool D&D in Uruguay. Yep. Here we go. Put some. Should probably add a little bit more detail to the edges here. So. There we. I'm going to test some other. I think that one might work better. Okay, let's test that and see. Yeah, I got a little bit more fizzy details there. So let's make it slightly smaller brush here and go in and kind of tweak it a bit here. Then we add these kind of slightly darker, a little bit more depth to it there. Then and the other ones here. And a little bit more depth there. There we go. And a little bit more depth. And a little bit more depth. Oops, that one was skipped. There we go. Okay, now it's time to save again, so because I don't want to have to redo this again. Depends. To do everything in this scale with this resolution and this technique will probably take me 2 years. To do the whole thing in what I really want to do, that's probably a 20-year project. To do it the way I want to do it, that's 20 years of work. If I get better computers and better software in the meantime, so to speak. I'm contemplating on actually doing the whole planet in this scale and this resolution. But on the other hand, I don't want to spend a lot of time doing something that will be obsolete very quickly and limited, so to speak. So I'm going to do a couple of years of test with to make it in the new style, so to speak, the new resolution that is much better in real 3D and all that, so to speak. So that is the so but it's a little bit up to, we'll see. I'm trying to push this a little bit further, so maybe I'll do Hepmona Land in using these tools, and then we'll see what that looks like. If that can be done quickly and really well, then might do more of the planet too. And it's also not only the map technical side, but it's also there's not much consensus of what the rest of the planet looks like. There's so many different versions and so many different ideas, and I don't want to step on a lot of others' toes, so to speak. So we'll see. Yeah. Yes, exactly. The GIS technology is something that I definitely want to need to get in there. And if I'm going to map the rest of the world, even this in this kind of rudimentary style, I need to have I need to use GIS, because I can't map it all in one, because there's so much distortion and stuff. So I need to map areas a few hundred miles across in small bits and pieces, and then puzzle them together in GIS, so you get proper, so you can actually put it in whatever projection you want and stuff like that. So you get distortions done right, so to speak. So that is so GIS is key to having this done properly. It's definitely that's the next logical step. So that's why I'm trying to do this. I need to do this right now, and that's why I did the Earth map. I haven't shown you all, but so I have the Earth map here. That's why I did this map. So here we have the Flanies and its surroundings. So that's what a big part of what I'm doing right now, is to actually to make sure that this actually fits in together with the they match each other. And I'm going to see this island is changed. I'm going to adjust this to match. They should match each other, so to speak. So I'm not going to I'm going to keep this island as it is and just add the other islands. I think it's kind of cool, and then go in and tweak this back. So there will be a version 2 of this that actually matches this better. So it's a better back and forth, so to speak. So GIS is a tool that is definitely a standard that I'm going to start making and getting it. Now we can take down the hardness quite a bit and make bigger brush versions here. We should probably remove the hard. We can have that texture. There we go. Yeah, that will do for now. GIS is Geographical Information System. It's a standard for handling geographical data, so to speak. So it's a set of standards and technology. So there's software and stuff that supports it. So I'm going to use QGIS. So hang on a second. I can have a link to QGIS. So let's see here. Let me open QGIS. .org, I think it is. Yep. So here is Qgis. So I'm going to copy and paste this link in here. So then you can read about the tool I'm going to use. And there is the so you have Discover QGIS. So you have screenshots here, so you can work with all sorts of technology. So it's a way of mapping. It's a type of tool they use for real world mapping. So here you have Rio, so you can map using vector and graph and raster information, and you can put layers, you can mix and match geographical information, you can style the data differently, and so on and so forth. So that's the new set of technology that I'm going to start using next year. So I'm going to convert my current map in. So ArcGIS is cooler. There's two reasons for it. First of all, it's ArcGIS is a real cool tool. It's one of the standards in the industry. The problem is that I want everybody to be able to use all the data. So I'm using QGIS because it's open source. Exactly. QGIS is open source, meaning the stuff that I'm using in the files and stuff, others can just pick up QGIS for free and work on it. And I don't have to pay a lot of money to it as well. So those are the main reason. I will probably pick up a few other professional GIS tools down the line too, because they support a lot of the standard same data sets or the same data standards, so to speak. So yep, but the main reason is cost, both for myself, and I also want to make sure that all the data and the maps that comes out of it can be tweaked and used by others for free without having to pay a lot of money for software. And welcome, Charles. Forgot to say welcome. Yep. So here we can add a little bit of. So I'm going to tweak the edge here a bit. There we go. Oh, that was it's this one I'm after here. There we go. Yeah, if you're in university or in some businesses and stuff, we had ArcGIS where I worked too before, but I was an end user of the maps. I was not the person making maps. So I was an end user of the maps. Yep, that's the ArcGIS is kind of this professional standard in a lot of ways. But I think I will mostly stick to QGIS. It's probably powerful enough, I think, for the use, and then there might be there's a couple of other tools that I might pick up, and I might need to use ArcGIS or something down the line too for some work. Okay, let's go in here and tweak some of that. Here we go. So, and then we have this. We can kind of tweak this bit here. And then we go in here and add some in a way. I'm thinking about doing adding more of painting over this bit here. Then we can do this bit and more of a gradual slope here, not a. There we go. That has to work for now on that side. But now it's time to look a bit more at the really shallow level here. So I think that's, we should have a, then we should take, that's the one there, and then go in and have a few canyons in here and kind of have, that's too big. Start. Well, I can have that and then make them smaller little jaggy edges in here. A couple of some detail in. Add some detail like that and then make it bigger and add in the, there we go. So we get a, like that, add some detail to the edges. So now it's time to save again. Okay, oh wow, we have 2 hours done here. Okay, let's zoom out and see what needs to be done for my next work session. But yeah, this is starting to get somewhere. We fixed some of the islands down here. We cleaned up a lot of the ocean here. Here I cleaned up some of this bit here. We cleaned up and added here. We worked on, yeah, it was a fairly productive session. Yeah, I'm so glad that so many of you came and watched me do boring Photoshop stuff. So it is, yeah, so I think it's time to end this work session, and I need to go grab something to drink and a snack and stuff and take Minnie out to go potty, but it's been good. So thank you so much for coming in. I'm going to post my links to my website and my Patreon, and where you can find more of this stuff, for especially for everyone who came might watch this afterwards, so you can get it at the end here. So yeah, so thank you everyone, thank you Brian, and I hope you have a great weekend everybody. And oh, thank you Charles, and thank you Troy. Yep, so yeah, it will be yeah, that will, next week it will be not a map stream, but we will have the fantasy mapping show at Lord Gasimba channel with Alyssa Faden and Jay and me. We will work on, we'll talk about settlement maps, so it will be kind of the opposite scale from this. We will talk about villages and cities and stuff like that, and map them. And then I will be back the week. I might do a stream next week anyway, some other day. We'll see. I haven't decided. I have to look at the schedule. But then, if not, then the week after will be probably more Photoshop, because this is Photoshop season. We need to get this map done, so to speak. So, yep. Okay. So thank you everyone, and I'm going to start ending the stream here. And yes, Alyssa Faden, she's awesome with settlement, so I'm starting to catch up on her. So I'm trying hard to be as good as she is, but she is fantastic. She's so awesomely good when it comes to do cities, and she is obnoxious, and she's digging into details so much into it. So okay, so thank you everyone. I'm going to end the stream here, and I'll see you again soon.